and I will have it sent to you sometime either by tomorrow or the day after. So if you want to go back and check it out, take any notes or whatever, you can do that. Does that work for you?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So what got you interested in coaching?
I've been playing Overwatch for 7 years since I was 14 years old, and it wasn't until Overwatch 2 that I kind of started thinking about the game as like a real game, like a chess, or I play a lot of like Hearthstone and cards games, like a game where you can actually strategize and think about things. And that got me really interested, and I started watching your content, a lot of other people's content, like I used to back in the day, but now for like educational purposes instead of just
Right.
being a teenager.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My goal, I feel like I have a lot of the mechanical skills to climb past the ranks I've been at before, and I wanted a fresh look at my gameplay.
Sure.
Really.
Sure. Okay. So you've been around for a while, and I'm seeing here that you're like Winston Doomfist. Like, what's going on with your hero pool here?
So I ended up throwing out Winston. Basically, which is really sad.
Too many Bastion games.
Too many Diva. That was before the new Bastion patch. Even I tossed him out because of too many Diva games.
Okay.
It just became like, if I'm playing Doomfist and I'm doing well, then it's almost guaranteed that someone's going to swap to counter, and it's usually Narissa. But I would rather fight Narissa as anybody than fight a Diva as a monkey.
Fair enough.
At least in my current skill, like if they really want to shut me down, it became like every game was like half a game, and then me just getting chased by a shotgun person the entire game.
Yeah. I got you.
And I don't get to play the game or like try my. I'm playing a different game then, so I don't actually get to do what I want to do. I wanted to learn how to play. I wanted to play more monkey because like back in Overwatch 1, I was a Rein main, and I played monkey and stuff, and it was fun, but I haven't played him in a while, and I felt like I could learn some things on monkey that would help my Doomfist gameplay, because I think my Doomfist gameplay lacks a lot of like big picture space controlling aspects.
Okay.
Doomfist, I have 2 cooldowns and I can move a lot faster. Monkey, you have a cooldown and a shield, so you kind of have to like position yourself more strategically and be more thoughtful with your actions, I feel.
Yes, the cycles are a lot more impactful, but also more like require more setup.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought that might be able to help me. I played monkey. I made me realize how much I love playing monkey again. But then I got sick of it, and I value fun more than
good.
I value,
That's wise.
Gameplay. So I went back to Doomfist because Doomfist is fun.
Now I'm curious, why does a Rein main play Doomfist? What happened there? Did you just wake up one morning and something just snapped, or like what happened?
Well, the truth is that I was a Rein one trick, and I played him for all of Overwatch 1, and I was trying to get all the achievements. Remember the achievements? And Doomfist was released. His achievement was hitting 6 people with his ult. That took me 60 hours on Doomfist.
That's ridiculous. I forgot that. Some of those achievements were so stupid. You remember the Lucio one? You had to boop like 3 people while wall riding off the map.
You have to get 3 kills while riding. The Doomfist one was by far like I stopped doing that on like all the new characters. I don't care enough. But
yeah.
The Doomfist one took me 60 hours, and by then he was the only DPS I ever played. He was, it was Overwatch 1. I was both, right? And
right.
Then it wasn't until Overwatch 2 when I was like, well, I still want to play Doomfist, and I was like, oh, this is just better.
So you've come to realize that being a completionist can lead you down to some dark avenues. Okay, and obviously Doomfist a lot of fun. pretty controversial hero in Overwatch 2. I don't think he's
Yep.
too frustrating to play against, but I think it's like there's a lot of like differing opinions on like where his hero balance is and where it ought to be, whether he's better, whether he's worse. So what are your takes on that design, especially coming back from somebody who's put hours in Overwatch 1?
Oh, on like Tank Fist.
Yeah.
I think he he has a lot of value, and I think that people his techs aren't as fun necessarily because Slam is a big arc now,
Yeah.
but mechanically he still works very similarly. He can still get one shots,
Mm-hmm.
and how I've seen it is like in Overwatch 1, you got really satisfying solo kills all the time,
Yeah.
which makes sense for a DPS. In Overwatch 2, it's pretty rare that you get solo kills. You still get them. You still get them multiple times a game, all the time. But it's less common because it's not an instant one-shot punch. But you can hit like 4 people, and he has empowered punch that's like
Right.
way
EMP
more
punch. Now
value.
that would be terrifying. That's where
why
like you guys go Sombra. I'm gonna EMP. Mine is better. Oh.
But I find that his play style of it's he's also one of like the most mobile tanks, and God, I mean, I think he works really well as a tank now. I think he's really fun, and I don't think he lost any of his identity. Uh, I think that the difficulty really is in his balance, and it's the fact that he's really, really difficult, but he can also do everything. He can also be played in any scenario and do
Right.
everything as long as you are like, as long as you do it, as long as you make the correct decisions.
Right.
He can always
Right.
work.
Right. Right. He feels like one of those characters where it requires a lot of game sense, a lot of mechanics, a lot of tech knowledge, and he also has like some lingering CC aspects that could be pretty frustrating to play against if he's too strong, but obviously pretty weak if it's not set up perfectly. So, okay, what rank are you at the moment?
I'm currently Diamond 2. Diamond 3.
Okay. Looking at your form here, what do you hope to get out of the session? Hoping for some critique on timing, cooldown usage, advice on things to be doing mentally when setting up a fight. How often do you play Overwatch per day? About 1 to 2 hours per day. Okay, so how is that time spent?
Um, so usually I'll get on, I'll warm up for probably usually 2 games, sometimes 3 games in quick
Okay.
play to try to get myself back in the groove, and then I go in, I play Doomfist, and usually my games I focus a lot on like I called those things out in my form, and I find that I don't know, I don't really focus on those things. I I go into the game, and my like number one goal every game really is like trying to knock myself out of the autopilot headspace. I feel like that's kind of been like my biggest struggle is I'm so used to just going into the game and just playing the game
Right.
and actually thinking, okay, he's there, I'm here. Where should I be? I'm gonna go over here. And then
Right.
they're there. I'm gonna go over
Right.
here.
Right. So it's kind of thinking about everything, kind of a thing.
Yeah, but I'm not really thinking about cooldowns or uh I'm kind of thinking like when I say engage, I find that I kind of autopilot a little bit after that, and then I'm like, okay, disconnect or disengage.
Right.
So I'm putting a lot of my mental effort into trying to at least the setup, the moving around, and time, and trying to figure out when is the right time to go in. That's kind of my focus of
How
my
has that
games
been?
in the last recently.
How has it been going for you?
It works. It works really well sometimes. Like sometimes for instance, I'll play against a Reinhardt, and I'll take a position that he can't contest. It's like, I can do whatever I want. Um, and those games feel really good. I can identify okay, there's a Widowmaker over there. I'm gonna jump her. I'm gonna kill her. Great. Move on. Go to the next one. And then some games I play it, and uh, maybe they go monkey or something, and they jump into a position that cuts off my healing or totally disrupts me, and then uh, I I feel like either I have to make the decision of like, do I push in forward or do I back? Not necessarily back to contest the monkey, but back just because like I've lost a lot of health. He cut off.
Right.
I don't have any support at the moment.
Right.
Those are the scenarios where I kind of struggle. Like I try to identify when the right time to go in is, but then the enemy team does something that makes me question myself and be, should I go now? Should I wait? Is this the opportunity? Do I need to wait for them to move apart a little bit more?
But from a psychological standpoint about whether you're autopilot in those moments, how has that been going, I guess?
I would say I don't autopilot. I don't autopilot a lot when I go into comp anymore, necessarily. As in just like walk up and do what I normally do. I can think about the engagements a lot more. But I play Doomfist at a really aggressive. I mean, it's a Doomfist, so
right.
Doomfist is fun because I get to play aggressive and punch people, and that's the fun part of Doomfist. And I find, and so when I actually go in, I actually get into the fights and actually play. I kind of let my like reflexes do a little bit because I'm hitting a lot of buttons really, really quickly. And then I will find that sometimes I'll accidentally autopilot like just a little bit, and that's feeding. That's like punch, do thing. I'm out of cooldowns. Damn it! And like the second I lose the cooldown, I like turn around. And I'm like, dang it.
Right.
I should have used that to get out.
Right. So you're trying to be as much as you possibly can aware of like how and when to engage and how to like play the matchup fundamentally. Like you're putting a lot of mental energy into that. Sometimes that slips. You go into autopilot mode, you make mistakes. That's just the nature of autopiloting, right? It's kind of going back to the generic making mistakes, things that I shouldn't be doing. I think the thing for you, though, is going to be about always channeling your mental energy, mental focus on towards the weakness or skill that you need to improve, right? Mm-hmm. So for you, it's like, we'll look at this gameplay and we'll find out what about your gameplay do you need to be actually putting your focus onto. Even if, and you know the routine, right? Like if we sometimes focusing on one skill means that we autopilot others, but we have to be okay with that. Like you said, if we're trying to break a mechanical habit, we might be thinking about our mechanics, but most of the time we're not thinking about our mechanics. So I think that's going to be the key thing. And if there's any specific matchups, we give that extra attention to try and improve that. Okay, let's keep going here. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? Strategy and my ability to perceive the fight is seemingly my weakest point. Is that still the case?
Yeah, it's probably still the case.
Okay. What about that specifically?
And I don't think I've even hit my like cap of climbing yet. I took a break recently, and I feel like if I had just kept climbing before that break, I feel like I didn't hit my cap.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
I do think that like my like seeing. It's like the whole, I don't know, maybe like the general tank dilemma, right? Like where's my team, where's the enemy team? Because I'm in the front, I'm doing stuff. I don't know where my team is, and I don't know where these positions are.
Right.
It's also some things that they're like I try to slam onto a platform and I miss because I just don't go far enough.
Right. So just some generic mechanical stuff, general tank stuff, like knowing where my team is, basics like that.
Yeah, having a vision of all the positions of all the pieces.
Yes. Okay. Makes sense. Any other questions? I don't have anything else from your form that really stands out to me. I got one little point here, but I don't have anything else.
I don't think I have any questions.
One suggestion I would have with your playtime is I would skip the quick play warm-up entirely.
Yeah.
I would skip the quick play warm-up entirely, and I'd do one of two things. Go murder people in deathmatch for 10 minutes. Or do that and or load up a custom game with cooldowns on 0% and just run around the map. Learn different rollouts.
Okay.
Yeah. Practice some fundamental. I'm not saying you need to go all get quaked on and know all these crazy like sticky spots, but like having an idea of like what would I do if they were here? How could I approach that? Are there any like good spots for these different techs? And just familiarize yourself. You could pull up a couple of maps as well, like Overwatch 2 Doomfist guides. Like let me look right now. Overwatch 2 Doomfist map rollouts or whatever. And yeah, there's a couple of them right here from like Kickflip, Quaked On. Just practice those, right? Just little things that are going to directly translate into your game. I think that's going to be better for you to be more efficient with your time. And I think like it's just hard. Like quick play, just it's okay for like a warm, but it's just not super efficient. It's just not super efficient. You spend too much time in spawn.
Downtime.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's a good idea.
Okay, let's take a look at your code here. What do you got for me?
All right. Would you, I guess I had two. One is a decent win, and then one I also have one that's a complete stomp. Like, if you've ever had Doomfist on your team and he just feeds the entire match, and you're like, I hate that.
How
guy.
long is the stomp?
I have one of those. That one is
it short?
12 minutes. It's not a complete stomp. It's a get held at choke for 3.5 minutes. And
Gotcha. We could look at a little bit of that, and then go move on from there.
Okay. I would like for you to look at it a little bit.
Okay.
These are they're after. I'm a little rusty in these, so I
that's fine.
There will be some big mistakes probably.
That's totally fine. That's the Doomfist, feast or famine, and it happens. Okay. So I feel like I'd ask you what Doomfist is good at, but I feel like that'd be a little bit redundant considering you seem pretty well versed in what that is about. So let's just see what we see. The first thing you should be asking yourself is, where is like my pressure going to be the most useful? Like right now, what's the only potential problem about, like, let's go back to here. Why should you probably not immediately dive backline right now?
Because I would have no support.
You'd have no support.
I'm playing Mercy Lightweaver. They're over there.
Right. Well, right. Are your Mercy Lightweaver engaged in combat?
No.
Is your Tracer?
No. Oh God, no. Not even.
Is your Ashe?
She's peeking, but she's not actually.
Right. I know your Ashe player. I've coached your Ashe player.
Really?
Yeah, I've coached your Ashe player. Yeah, I knew I recognized that name. In fact, I just spoke with him yesterday. Okay, interesting. But yeah, so right. So you need to. When would be a good time to engage? At what point in time? Let's just play this out from a bird's eye view.
I would say.
Maybe now.
Maybe now.
Why? What has changed about the battlefield here?
Well, their diva is not with their team anymore.
Right. Well, she's not just with their team anymore. She's actively being shot by your Tracer, yes, and Mercy and Ashe. So at this point in time, there's actual, and the Kiriko, even better now, right? Because you know, it's like you said, the eternal tank dilemma. Is my team doing something?
Right.
Whether helping me directly or shooting something else so that I can isolate a target. Because now there are actual isolated targets because the diva has taken space. So in the meantime, you have a really important decision to make. Do you guard the space and just trade with tank, right? Or what's your other option?
Or jump backline?
Well, you couldn't do that now anyway, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
So what's your other option then? Because there is another option.
Is the other option? There's another option. Is the other option? I don't know. I really don't know. Back up and take high ground?
You sure? Essentially, if the only thing that you can do is trade tank because the backline is not a good prime right now, then you either trade tank or you do nothing. You do nothing. You do literally nothing. Now, why is that important? Let's replace that diva with an Orisa.
Right. Oh, geez.
Right? Because it's not about just who wins the tank trade there. It's also about, like, what is she going to force from you? If you sit here and shoot at the Orisa, what's going to happen?
She's gonna push out all my cooldowns and
right,
only
and
one or two of hers. She's just gonna walk in.
Right, so it's not particularly useful. Now, sometimes it might be useful. Like maybe if your Ashe had a better angle here, or your Tracer was shooting with you, or your Lifeweaver, or she was discorded, you could maybe force out like a Fortify or something like that. It'd be okay. But you wouldn't want to spend too much time worrying about her, because you'd lose that tank trade so hard that it's honestly better to just save your cooldowns and just hide and wait for the opportunity. Because at some point she's going to walk, and then you're going to go right behind her and fill that void.
Right.
But it's complicated with Doomfist because, as you very well know, you're not the worst tank in the tank trade, right? You can bully tanks a little bit, right? This, like, if you hit this punch in the diva, it's not going to do a lot of damage, but it might, it'll cancel her matrix and push her out. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay. Now here, are you making the right decision? Because you're not going for backline necessarily. You're going for a squishy elsewhere.
I think.
Who's easier to kill?
Yes,
an Ashe? I'm interrupting you, but who's easier to kill or pressure, an Ashe or a Kiriko?
This Kiriko.
Why?
She just used TP and the Ashe has a pylon.
Right. That's the difference. Because I'd actually prefer the Ashe, but the Ashe has an asterisk. Right?
Yeah.
In addition, who's more likely to actually do things to your team right now? Ashe or Kiriko?
Probably. I was going to say probably the Ashe to the Ashe. Right?
It's normally Ashe, but stop. Where is the Ashe positioned right now? What can she see?
She's trying. She could get a lucky shot on our Ashe, but our Ashe is pretty safe back there.
And that's pretty much it, right? So she's not really positioned for success right now. So you're prioritizing the Kiriko, even though it's a worse 1v1 because you've seen cooldowns, obviously, but also because the Ashe is just not really a threat right now. She's not really a threat. Now, if Ashe pushed out to here, you'd have a real dilemma. Do I go for Kiriko? Do I go for Ashe? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Because then they don't even have pylon. They only have regular support.
So your job as a Doomfist is to like make these decisions quickly, close the distance, use your shotgun to threaten them or force cooldowns, and then disengage over and over and over again. And the reason that Doomfist is so hard is because you have mobility, you're expected to make the read instantly and put yourself in that spot. A Reinhardt holding a choke, he doesn't care about Ashe or Iliari or whatever because he can't get to them. But he can swing on Kiriko and Doomfist. Or you could be anywhere that you want, so you need to be knowing where everything is going on at the same time. That's the challenge with these mobile tanks, right?
Totally.
Now, I will say, little details, right? Little details we have to look at. Too much poke for no reason. You can't do this. You take poke, what does that mean for you?
It uses up my resources from my healers?
Right. Not only that, but if you had an opportunity or wanted to do anything right now, you have less health to do it with. Correct?
Right.
Other thing here, I assume you were slamming for top, but is slamming for top better than just slamming in here? Like, what advantage do you get from this slam?
I think you can even see me scout. Yeah,
Scouting.
Scouting. I think.
Okay, seems reasonable.
It was the idea of taking top and scouting at the same time.
Seems reasonable. Now, are you controlling space right now?
Right now, no. I think I'm chasing.
Well, what does chasing mean? I'm asking a lot of questions right now because I promise you it's going to get smoother.
As in the Kiriko, I don't think we kill her. I think she gets away, and I turn around to try to So right here, I'm not. The moment that we fail to get the kill on the Kiri, they kind of push in. I'm not doing anything.
Well, what could you have done? What can you do instead?
From right here, just push up the stairs, or or back out.
Okay. I want you to watch this from this Ashe's perspective. Dangerous, yes, for you.
Yeah.
For your team.
Right. Very.
You see?
She back. The presence of me being there caused her to leave.
You're tanking.
Yeah.
Indirectly, but you're tanking. Another thing, obviously that you saw this one, you're tanking. That cooldown should have been used over here. And his attention should have been over here. You're playing at a rank where people are obsessed with the tank war, right? I'm sure you're very well aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He should have died for that. Good job. Now the question is, what's next? Look at the enemy composition. Look at the enemy team. Now you have to know this, though. You have to know this. Because you see their backline? Like, what is this? What is this? Should you engage on these backliners now?
No.
So what should you do instead?
I had either just hold space, fight the diva, stand here.
Right. Punch the diva, right? This is another Orisa question where it's like, is it better to avoid the diva or is it better to hide and wait for the backline? Obviously, at that point in time, you don't really have that option. So right now, just punch the diva. So you're giving up space, but you don't need to. You're fine. Punch her in the mouth. And all of that. Now, I really wouldn't slam here. Don't use a cooldown for what your W key can do instead, right? because I want both cooldowns here. And I also don't want to alert them to my presence, right? If this D.Va's playing smart, she hears you slam up top, she might be looking to boop you off of the top. But regardless, all that time, 30 seconds now almost, and what has the enemy team accomplished?
Nothing.
Nothing. They've made no progress, no space. Now you're about to feed. Because what's the problem with what you're about to do?
I'm engaging on the enemy, and
is this your space or is the enemy space?
This is not our space.
Okay, so is that a problem? Is it a problem as a tank when you engage in space that is not your team's?
Not 100% of the time.
Here's a question for you. Does your team want this space?
No.
So then should you engage for it?
No.
No. It's that simple. Now, obviously, no slam is a big problem here, right? If you wanted to be cheeky and do something stupid, I'm not happy with it, right? It makes no sense, given that your Life Weaver's positioning, given your Mercy's positioning, given the backline's positioning, but whatever. But now you're really trolling.
Yep.
Now you're really trolling, right? So what's the problem here? There's two problems, actually 3 problems that we can identify, and we'll keep it looking at them. What are the 3?
Knowing.
First problem right here.
Oh, wasting a cooldown on before initiating?
Right, did nothing. Right. Okay? What's the next problem?
Engaging on the enemy without knowing where my backline is?
Correct. So you're taking a 1v5 or a 2v5 here. Okay? What's the third problem? You didn't know where your backline was. And even if you did know where your backline was, when would it make sense to go for something like this? Is the enemy team actively taking space or engaging in combat right now?
No, the D.Va's holding and they're waiting.
No. When would be good? When would it be a good time to go for this backline here?
When the D.Va and the Curie and the Cassel try to push out.
What if the D.Va and Curie don't? What if the Iliari walks out or the Cassidy by himself walks out? Is that a good time to go?
No.
You sure?
If it's just the Cass walking out?
Then what would you do?
Oh.
These are tough questions.
If I would maybe say if the Cass was walking out, I would want to probably jump him.
Yeah. So you would have to make the decision between, do I want to distract 3 or 4 people and let my team deal with the Cassidy, or do I want to deal with him directly myself?
Right. Yeah.
Just like the D.Va, right? Remember when the D.Va walked out of the choke? You said, do I want to punch the D.Va around or do I want to go for the backline and cut off the backline? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. Now we don't have to worry about that level of no way. Whack.
Oh, she dies too. And then I assume I'm just staggering at this point because
trying to look at your micro here. Obviously, that first shot needs to be like
that shot.
Yeah. But is that aim or crosshair placement or both?
Not sure.
I think it's at least partially crosshair. I mean, look at your crosshair placement.
Yeah, my crosshair placement is not on her head, obviously.
You're going to play Widowmaker and flick your crosshair up to the head after the punch? No. Why would you do that? So set the crosshair at her chest level at least so that this is a easier shot. Because you make it hard. You see? That little flick there? That's harder than it needed to be. Put the crosshair at her head. And obviously, especially with the shorter stun duration, the shorter the flick, the faster the flick. The faster the flick, the more likely that you're actually going to be able to hit it on her head before the stun breaks. You see what I'm saying?
Here's me.
Okay.
Oh, totally getting out. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Just like we drew it up. Now, why are you prioritizing the Kiriko?
She's up on high ground. She can see our whole team.
Who's the most aggressive squishy on the battlefield right now?
Kiri.
Good. So hit her in the mouth. Now you got to be careful because you are down 1.
Yep.
Now the Kiriko's out. Who should you prioritize now?
The D.Va.
Are you sure?
I don't think that those DPS have any angles on our DPS. They don't have any sightlines.
Yeah. So you see, right? You don't need to worry about them. It's the same question as the Ashe and the choke. Yes, we can kill an Ashe, but why would I worry about an Ashe when the Ashe can't do anything? So why not just go peel back? Now, what's your next response? Now, this block is stupid, respectfully. I want, you'd either have a guarantee of damage coming in, or at least some like reasonable expectation of damage coming in. I don't think that one was reasonable enough. Now, what should be your next priority right now?
Jumping the person.
Yes. See, there you go. Now she's out. Now this
D.Va back on high ground.
And see that exactly. So you're constantly trading back and forth. Get rid of the Kiriko and the angle. Trading with the D.Va, go back to high ground. Now you got to be super alert right now because there's 2 questions that I'm asking. Where's my team? Where's the enemy team? Do you know the answer to the first one?
I think that they're all on high ground, but I don't know. I don't know where.
Looks good? Looks good? Looks good. Now, where's the enemy team? Do you know?
They're around carts. That's what I know. I know.
Now, you're about to go in super deep. Maybe. Where should you go? Somebody's not in your screen right now. Somebody's not in your screen right now.
It's one of the squishies.
Yeah.
I can see there's 4.
Now, I'm not saying you need to chase Kiriko around the map, but you need to be aware of that.
Know that she's currently attacking my Mercy,
right? And the reason why that's important is if you don't want to worry about Kiriko, that's fine. But that might influence this engage, no? Cassidy is dead. Kiriko is missing. What does that mean for you?
No Suzu, no stun.
No Suzu, no stun. So if you punched this Ashe, slammed this Ashe, and then power blocked, would you be able to disengage again?
Probably.
I don't think they have the damage to kill you or the CC to kill you. So this is a 1v3, but based off of what you see here, I think you can get away with it. Right? But it's important for you to know that. So you can know that I can greed here. I don't think what you do is bad. It's low risk, low reward. You're just kind of keeping them busy.
I kind of fear the pylon. I don't think I want to fully engage with that pylon sitting there.
But remember, you're not necessarily going for the kill. You're asking how much pressure can I put out?
Right.
It's because the more attention that you force without risk of death, the more likely your team will be able to kill this Kiriko. The more likely your Widowmaker will be able to hit a headshot.
Right. So I could even like jump in, apply a ton of pressure, and leave. Maybe the D.Va chases me or something. But that's good. I don't have to get a kill or anything. I just need
No, you don't. It's the threat of the kill, right? It's enough damage to where it makes them uncomfortable and distracts them. Because you're looking at this here, and this is like not bad, but I think you could have greeted this more, given the status of the cooldowns, given the status of that Kiriko. So if you don't do that, then you're missing out on ult charge, you're missing out on pressure, and you're reducing the opportunity that your Ashe and Widow have of making a play here.
Right.
Tanking is about knowing your break points, right? That's what makes crowd control so difficult. Like again here, you're not going to get punished for this, right? You just slammed in there for no reason, but that slam is what allowed this to work. They're not even looking at you. You see that? Or they're not even looking at the Ashe. Excuse me.
Right.
No, I don't know what's going on here, but like, go kill these guys. They're in the room. Go get them. I think you maybe lost track. Okay, yeah, you just lost track.
I didn't know where the
Okay. Fair enough. You don't have eyes in the back of your head? You're not perfectly aware of everything at all times? Come on. Now you're greeting again, right? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you egoing this?
Probably my ego.
Okay, your ego, right? But this is not something you're going to be punished for. Why?
Because I have full health, all cooldowns, and they're in advantageous position. I should just be back around.
Also, no Cassidy.
And no Cassidy.
No Cassidy, right? Now, and the other...
I wouldn't have thought about that.
The other thing to notice as well is that, okay, the slam itself wasn't amazing, but in theory, okay, your snipers are a little bit further back, but like, let's say your snipers were here. Could they follow up off of this?
Sure.
Much more so than they would have over here, right? Much more so. So you are going early, yes, but your team can shoot people. I actually think this is a mistake.
Backing up?
I think this is a mistake. I really do. Now, obviously, we talked about whether these backliners are a threat. Maybe, maybe not. But I don't think you can peel off this D.Va. What would be better for you to control this backline or peel off D.Va now?
Right now, it's
It's tough, isn't it?
It's there's only two squishies, and they don't even have a good. I assume that's a pylon. They don't even have a good sightlines to it. Like I could probably fight them off of it.
Check the bottom middle of your screen too.
I'm also full health too.
Yeah.
I'm worried for the safety of our Life Weaver, obviously.
But what's more likely to kill your Life Weaver? The Ashe or Illari who's going to be able to walk through the choke for free, or the D.Va that's diving from this distance?
Right, the Ashe after she...
Right, probably. Now, I don't think these guys are in great positions, but I do think given the position of Illari, I'm more concerned about that than I am about anything else. Right? And ultimately, you failed. Right. And look at what happens as a result of you peeling back. It's a very tricky balance because we just spent a lot of attention about how and why you should shoot the front line here because they're all stuck on the other side of the choke. But once they start to walk outside, your attention needs to go towards that, especially because you have your ultimate, right? You're even better.
I can feed as much as I want.
You can not just say feed as much as you want, but you can do a much better job like killing and controlling backline. And so as soon as you peel off here, this D.Va's ignoring you, and now this Ashe and Illari are like actual threats here.
Right.
And you die, right? Why don't? Right, and you die. Right, but why? No healing because your Life Weaver,
no healing.
Right? The Life Weaver that was dead that surely you could have peeled off. This is okay. It's reasonable to expect some sort of damage here. It's fine to force D.Va because she's low. Yeah, I got you.
Like a DMAC.
Yeah. All right, you. There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse. This is like Bastion ult level of lazy. Do you know how much damage your ultimate does in the epicenter?
It does like 300 or something.
Yeah, so you don't even know.
Because it drops off to like 100.
It drops off harshly. It does 300, but if you don't hit the inner sphere, it's going to drop off to 100 immediately and then scale accordingly, right? Yeah. So, respectfully, what is wrong with you? I mean, come on. It has to hit, right? It has to hit. I mean, what would that be? How much damage reduction is it for Hynute? 40%?
Yeah, 40%, I think.
Okay. 40%, 225. I mean...
It would kill.
Yeah.
I believe.
It's a kill. It's a kill. It's a kill. Because that's going to be doing 180 damage, right? So that's a kill right there. Mm-hmm. At the very least, you get the big juicer on them, you know? Like you get the HP, you get the slam, you're on the target that you want to. You got to hit this. You know, there's just no excuse.
Yeah.
That's juicy, at the very least. It's just risky because you don't kill the cast in the first place, and because you've used all of your cooldowns, you're dead.
Yeah.
You can rest again. Unreal. Worst stagger ever. Widowmaker, good news for you.
Yep.
Scouting. Now, again, why are you not engaging right now? Why would you not go for this?
They're on low. I have no backup.
Yeah. It's not just that they have no backup, but your team is doing literally nothing. So if there was a D.Va going in your backline and you traded their backline like we talked about last fight, totally different story, but that's not what's happening. So don't do anything, please. Scout if you'd like to. Charge up a punch if you want to get a little greedy with it. But... See, this is just stupid. You're forcing all this here, but you don't even know what comp they're on. You don't know where they're at. You just scouted. If anything here, what should you do at this point in time? Even if this slam is okay. You see Ashe, but you need some more information, right? You need that slam cooldown still, right?
Right.
Then what would you do from this situation?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Look more scouting.
Then who would you go on?
Possibly the Widowmaker, who's completely isolated.
Right. So what would that force? Even if you don't kill the Widowmaker, what would happen?
Yeah, it would probably cause Illari and maybe the Ana to turn around.
Exactly. Maybe some cooldowns for us. Grapple, heal, right. Nade, sleep. Who knows what? Maybe the Ashe turns around. Honestly, right. You could also go for Illari here as well because, again, could you just shoot her, punch her? Yes. No cooldowns. Force her pylon, force her shift, break pylon maybe, force D.Va to peel back.
Right,
what's the problem with what you're going for right now? Because you are going on a squishy and you are going at a reasonably good time, right? Like your Ashe is taking space, your Life Weaver and Widow are here. What's the problem with how and what you're doing though?
Is it too far away or is it a 2v1?
No, 2v1's even fine if you have the tools for it, right? You're a tank. You don't necessarily win the 2v1, but you force a lot of resources, right? Like you're going to force a lot of resources here.
Right. I don't know. I'm pushing off high ground. I'm trying to clear off high ground.
Look at the bottom right here.
I used both of my cooldowns just to try to get over here to the fight.
That's the problem. And not only is that a problem in general, that's especially a problem considering the old grandma that you got here.
Right.
You're cooked.
Right.
You're cooked. You can't do this. Yeah. Like you have to understand the risk that you're at here, and you need at least a cooldown. Because like imagine if you had punch here. This would work, right? What would you do?
It would be over. I just punch them.
Punch them off a high ground, right? And then maybe bait sleep dart around the cooldown. Look at them, see if you just check to see what the Ana does. See what the Ana does, right? I mean, obviously she's one shot here anyway, but let's just pretend that she wasn't so low, right? That's kind of like what you're looking at. So like when you engage, especially into 2v1, you can't do this with 0 cooldowns. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. You at least need 1, and now you're power blocking into a sleep dart. She somehow misses. And even though everything that could have gone right for you goes correctly, because, nade, and because you greed the kill just a little bit, you're done. Now, did you do a good job tanking here? Reasonable? Because look what happens to the D.Va. Look what happens to the D.Va. Right? She's forced the bomb. No health, no resources, nothing. No Widowmaker shots, no Ashe damage. You ate every cooldown in the game, but that wasn't good enough. You should have done a much better job, and that's why you lose.
Right.
And so what was the mistake, though? Without being vague, be specific. What was the mistake? What did you need to do better?
Slamming onto... slamming or punching across the high ground.
Sure.
I did both.
Engage, have a cooldown on your engage. The timing was fine. The target was risky. I probably would have gone for a different target, but the target was especially risky considering you had 0 cooldowns on entry.
Right.
I mean, case in point, right? You can live this. Should you have been there in the first place? Probably not. Why?
Because they're not taking any space. Because our Ashe is back in spawn.
You get me?
Sure. Yeah.
So you play this one relatively well. You have cooldowns to get out of sleep dart. That's fine. It's fine.
I'm trying to take advantage of empowered punch.
That's fine. I mean, you're holding space, right? Like you're holding space. This is all right. Ah, disaster. I was just about to say this. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. Like, you got to know, right? Until you don't know about the status of sleep dart, you can't do this. The slam is fine, but you got to play cover, right? I mean, you can even block and then play cover and then duck behind to bait it, right? You can block and then cancel the block once you see the animation of the sleep dart. But you got to track. They're being nice to you. They're only throwing 1 cooldown your way. You got to be aware of it. I don't care if it's cast nade, sleep. You got to be aware of it.
Right.
And now you're dead.
And now I'm dead.
Right. So you're paying attention. I think the general AoE frontline presence there was okay. Just trading front lines, seeing what opportunities you had, but yeah. Yeah. Let's take a look at your other code. Let's take a look at your other code here.
Sure.
So we established an ugly foundation, of what needed to be done better and all that shenanigans. So what are you seeing so far? What needs to be done better? We talked about a lot of things. Details like crosshair placement off of the punch, right? That's an important one. But also some macro stuff. What are you seeing?
Using a slam to move around the map before an engagement, and then just not waiting for that cooldown to come back.
Right.
Walk to the point that I'm trying to get to, and then engage with my ability, or use it for movement, but then don't take that as an opportunity to go in.
Right. You need to try and play him under cooldowns better, the level of aggression a little bit better. And then tracking the one cooldown, I think, is important that you need to track to play around.
Because it is the one cooldown.
Right. And then prioritizing pressure when you have teammates that can actually back you up. Right. Whether that's on the target or on a different target entirely. Let's keep going. Any questions so far?
No, this is great.
Okay. Nothing super complicated. Maybe the crosshair placement's a detail that maybe you don't pick up, but I don't think there's anything that needs to be brand new. Now, this is great. This is great. Now, you need to be careful about something like sleep dart. You need to know the status of the Ana before you commit this hard. But why is this very important?
Because they're taking all the space.
They're taking space. Is a Sojourn something that you can directly control?
Totally.
Yes. You can't kill her necessarily, but you're going to force a lot of resources on the left side, easily get away. That's the wrong person. And there you go. Look at that. Let's just count the resources that you forced. Heal beam instead of damage beam.
Right.
Has to give up the angle. Second bubble. Reaper attention. Sojourn attention. And Zarya attention. Oh, and I didn't even catch this one in the moment.
I was gonna say I don't think it hits me, but do I take the nade? Oh, it's just she kind of just tosses
it
in.
Yeah, she throws it at you. She throws it at you. So now we have no nade, no E. Sojourn is giving you full attention. Reaper gave you full attention, and now who's actually controlling a little bit more space? Do you see your team?
Yeah, it still ends up being that. Or we took the space that they were in and in favor of the inside.
Now, you can argue whether we should have gone point or whether we should fight here, but it looked like you guys wanted to fight here. And guess what? Because you took a favorable cooldown trade, Zarya has no bubbles. Ana has no nade.
Right.
You control the space. Now, we can argue about whether that space is good or not, but okay. We'd love to see it. Nice job. Nice job. No blind. No blind. No blind.
Punch.
Blind punch. You have absolutely, yes to yes, everything yes. You have absolutely no idea what's going on your screen right now. You have no idea where anybody is. Now, let's not cheat and look through walls.
Right. Yeah,
but you saw Ana on the right side. You saw her. That's where you got naded from, right? So if you're really paying attention, where could you go here?
Just hard force right with the tracer.
You could hard force right. You could even do a fancy slam cancel punch out this way.
I could.
Right?
I could do a little turn punch.
And why would it be worth going for? She's still a sleep dart, right?
She's 1v1ing a tracer right now.
She's 1v1ing a tracer, and she doesn't have what?
She doesn't have nade.
She doesn't have nade. And look at the enemy team's position. Will they be able to help the Ana necessarily?
Maybe,
but there's hesitation, right? She's isolated. She's isolated. Do you see that? Right. So maybe it's worth. Maybe it's worth. Now here's another question. Let's say you're paying a little bit closer attention to what's going on here. You don't just immediately punch or slam. You walk forward. You shoot a little bit. You poke a little bit. What did you just see? Right. What did you just hear? You see this?
I saw that.
Oh man, you don't even need to slam this. You just walk around the corner and punch her. Right? Or, Mercy. Slam Mercy. Shoot Mercy. That's also useful, correct?
Right.
Or
right.
Reaper just used Wraith and peeled off this direction. What do I do with that?
Right.
Just you can kill the Reaper guy, right? You can kill the Reaper guy, right?
Yeah.
Turn, you don't need to slam here. Turn, charge up punch, whammo. That would work too.
Right.
But instead, what do we do?
Let
me try and give you... You just go... You don't even know what you're doing. Yeah. You don't know what you're doing. You have no idea. You're just pressing buttons.
I'm aiming for the Sojourn, but I am going totally blind.
Right, exactly.
No idea.
Good. Nice. Nice. Look at you go. Good. Nice. Look at you go. Popping off. It's good. This is all fine. I think it's like you said it best. When I'm really thinking about who I'm going for, where I'm going for, like what am I doing, setting up my engages when we were talking before the review, everything looks nice. You just can't be blind. You just can't be blind.
Right.
There's Sojourn. Oh, she just used slide. Smack her.
I hope.
Let's check out your crosshair placement.
It's not
You see your crosshair placement? Do you see this?
Yeah.
Before you even punch, looking at the floor.
Yeah.
So again, there's your punch. And here's your flick. You see? You flicked up and you still hit her in the butt cheeks. You couldn't even reach her head.
She jumped too, yeah. I was nowhere near it.
You were nowhere near.
Oh.
Now this is great. Really, you don't need to do anything else. You're hitting a nice target on a corner without even having to worry about the tank. I mean, you could just do this till the cows come home. This is just easy peasy. I mean, look at that, right? Now, this is scary though, right? Because again, you're just kind of like, oh, damage, damage, damage. But what? What's the one thing?
Probably feeding Zarya right here.
Well, partially yes, but that's just inevitable to an extent. But also what?
I am not paying attention to the Mercy that's flying above.
Yes and no. Here's a question: where are you guys fighting to hold space on?
Oh, we're fighting on this side of the wall.
Right, generally.
Over here with the turret.
So we don't necessarily need to worry about going through the wall until their Zarya goes through the choke. Then you can cut off her backline. You get that?
Right.
The other thing too is as well as you don't know the status of this little honker right here. So like if you power block and you don't even know where, like it ends up being fine because you cut her off her LOS, but you didn't know that. You didn't know that.
Right.
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 Okay. Now you got a really important decision to make here, don't you?
Yeah. Do I go ham on the only 2 DPS or supports because they're isolated from the rest of their team, or do I peel back and try to help out whoever's behind us?
What do you think? What do you think?
I think I go forward because our Tracer's looking forward and our
I think
Moira's
so too.
next to me.
I also think it would be reasonable given the fact that these supports don't look like they're going to be doing anything, given their positioning. I think it would be fine to go back and peel back too.
Right.
In fact, I actually think it might be better to peel back, but you got to do something.
I just hesitate. I don't know which one to do.
Well, I guess we get the point flip, but that one was definitely ugly. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any general advice tips for this point of Survasa?
No.
Okay.
Nope. No, there are none. Know your engaged locations. Nice job. Let's actually check your crosshair placement again. It's weird. You have a tendency to look down. Watch this. It's like, you see that flick down?
Yeah.
Even that, like you got to flick your crosshair up. That crosshair placement's a lot better. You see this? And is it a surprise that the shot after the punch is a headshot? It actually hits his head.
Yeah.
It actually, at least you get a couple of pellets that are a headshot, right? Because where was your punch? You didn't have to flick near as much. He even slid, and you still didn't have to flick near as much.
Right.
But yeah, no, the key point with this one is the only thing I would say is that obviously like you need to know that there's multiple engage angles that everybody knows. But the other thing too is like people sometimes forget that this is accessible, and there's a mini health back here as well. That's something you can toy with. Not something that I would use too much, but you can definitely be a little bit of a nuisance here, especially with how fast your character is.
Right.
This is not where you want to engage from for sure.
Right.
I think you realize that in the moment. Again, there's your slam, right? So what does that mean?
Don't engage right now.
Caution, right?
Right.
There's always exceptions to the rule, but you just got to be careful. Like right now, if I'm doing this, I'm staring down where that Ana is, right?
Right.
You're probably not thinking about that in the moment.
I'm really curious.
Like you see her right there. You see her, right? Easily see her. And I don't
guarantee I didn't see her.
Right.
When I was playing, for instance. I'm going.
Oh, this is going to be fat. This is going to be fat. I can smell it. Oh, yes. One of the slams of all time, but nice punch. But yeah, the big thing is that like basically you never want to like leave. You want to take responsibility. You want to put things in your control. Right. If you're saying, "Oh, I just don't think the Ana will look for me," my Tracer will bail me out because she's distracting the Ana.
Right, but even right there, she peaked, but by the time
She just
I was
didn't.
still, like,
Right.
punching.
Right. So like that was just, oh, she misplayed it. But no, that's not good enough for me. You know, like you need to take ownership of that situation to just don't let her hit the sleep dart, you know? Now obviously that's a little bit of a again, the punch. Look at your punch crosshair placement. I mean, it's kind of accidental, but you see, look at where your crosshair is right now. So then therefore, are we surprised that, right?
Right.
Yep. It makes things so much easier when you just aim at the chest or the head. But yeah, anyway, like take ownership with it. You know, don't be like, oh, she missed the sleep dart. No. Don't give her the opportunity to hit the sleep dart. I mean, I've played versus good Doomfist as an Ana, and obviously it's definitely a skill matchup. But good Doomfist makes it very hard for me to find opportunities to hit sleep dart.
Yeah,
you're trolling. You're trolling. Where is your team set up to fight?
Back in our space.
Right, just here, right? So then, is anything crossing into your team space right now? No.
The Bastion is trying, but he doesn't.
But not yet. And so then, by the time they actually do cross into your space, what's the status of your cooldowns and your HP? You see that? You're backing up when you should be going in. In fact, you get grabbed. So then, what would be the better play here? Let's look at this again. What did you do?
So I see the Bastion get out of turret form. So in my head that means for me to go in.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it probably would have been better to wait on high ground and then wait for the Bastion to push out a little more on the right and then jump.
Oh yeah. Do you see how he pushes out over here? What do you do?
Yeah.
He peeks there. Then what do you do? Or maybe he doesn't even. Maybe he doesn't even. Maybe you just wait here and you're like, he's still not peeking. He's still not peeking. He's still not peeking. Maybe the Reaper starts to walk forward now, or the Bastion goes now. Now what can you do?
Right. Now I can jump there, the Ana, the Mercy. I don't even have to worry about the Bastion necessarily.
Well, hang on.
Or I could jump the Bastion, but if he has turret form, then I would be worried to do that.
But does he have turret form yet?
I think it's about to come back.
I think he's still got 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah, check it out. See, I'm just a wizard. I'm a wizard. I told you. Right, exactly. But this is a huge opportunity right now, right? Especially with your ultimate. Get on this guy.
Right,
and you don't have to worry about sleep dart, right? You don't have to worry about sleep dart. You just go because you avoid the sleep dart. You get value elsewhere, and then if the Ana has to go and chase you and try to sleep you, or maybe she uses it elsewhere, and then she's cooked. You could also go back and now peel the Reaper, right? Like actually properly peel the Reaper, right? If I don't think that's the highest risk, or the highest return on investment, but like you actually would have cooldowns to do it now, but nah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh wow, they really wanted you guys dead. I mean, we take it, I guess. Let's look at a couple more fights. This is cheese, but like,
this one, so.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough. You see, this is tough because you don't have any scouting, you know? You don't have like any scouting, so you don't really know what to go for. I think going for Reaper is probably fine. And then you get the, oh, did you cancel Nano? I think you might have canceled Nano.
Did I?
Yep.
Killer.
And let's check your crosshair placement because that's just fun.
Oh.
Wait, what do you mean you didn't kill her? Oh, you do. Okay. You scared me.
I didn't think I had that last shot there.
Why do you look at the floor? You're killing me. Again, you make the crosshair placement so much harder. You actually have a nice flick here. Well, I guess not really a flick, but yeah, a little bit of flick. Yeah. Block.
That was pretty greedy.
Yeah, I think just simply tucking back here and shooting maybe a little bit, even because you're nanoed, right? You ain't got to be scared of anything. And honestly, I think I land on the Bastion. I really think I do. I think that would have been the better play.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Or wait for the Ana to actually come out of res, right? Like just half a second.
I wasn't aiming for the Ana.
Oh, you're aiming for the Mercy? Oh, you're crazy. All right, let's watch one more.
That was not a good. That was a bad one. It might have worked if it was earlier, but it was.
True. It's fine. I don't know that I would slam, just because I don't really get any benefit out of it, right? Like, you know she's bubbled. Do you really want to be on the single?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted to be there because that's where our Moira is.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But
fair enough.
Also, I'm not in a good spot now. So like,
I just think this is like the one of the problems with Flashpoint is I promise you don't actually know where your team is, but I know where your team is. I can tell you where your team is. You want to know where your team is? I think they're behind you to the left.
They're all, I think they're going through doorways.
Yeah. See, this is the problem here. Because you think about this and you're like, oh, this is all fine and dandy. Now the question is, could you have known this reasonably? Let's watch.
I can see that my teammates are over there on the right.
Okay, right, honestly, before you even punch, I think this is where you check.
Yeah.
You see it?
I had no idea where my Ana was. I
you
checked
see it?
For Soldier, but
you
I
see
didn't
it?
check for anybody else.
Now you see this though, right? You see this, right? This is, and see, this is the thing though, is it's actually, it's like, okay, who's feeding? You or your backline? I mean, you're the one that chose the engagement, so you're the one feeding. But like, should you guys have taken a fight here or should you not? I actually don't think it matters because you have Cole, but they also have like Bastion ults. Like honestly, getting the point first is like really good for Ana Soldier here, right? So I actually think maybe your team has like the better strategic decision to rotate first, right? But this is the problem, right? Now, the reason why I'm not lambasting you for not knowing right now, it's too late right now. It's too late. Too much going on. But you should have known now. Yeah. Now, I mean, you could literally see before you see the Zarya.
Walking out that door.
Right. So, like, it's funny because you look at this and you're like, okay, I play cover. I discharge punch is fine. I punch here. I try to slam out. Okay, maybe it was a little bit of a greedy slam there. I probably should have fully disengaged. But it's not. It doesn't feel like you troll your cooldowns that badly, and yet it goes horribly. It's because you were 2 or 3 down.
Right.
Right. That's all. I lied. We're gonna look one more fight. Okay. Actually, you know what? This is perfect. This is perfect. I just really want to enjoy this one. Come on, man. Outplay that. Come on, dude. They really want you dead. They really want you dead.
Should I? I feel like they.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Zarya?
Don't go to. Yeah. I would say Zarya is probably one of the worst tanks to trade with.
Oh yeah.
So I would generally just be avoiding Zarya whenever I can, just because it's just kind of a waste of time. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. Oh, these shots! This is great trigger discipline here. I know something I don't talk about with Doomfist often, but like you're selectively shooting your shots. That's huge. Look at that. It's huge. You literally could have gone. Honestly, you should have gone for the kill.
I think if she didn't peek behind the wall, that would have killed.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. That was really nice.
But I feel like I also right here, I feel like I'm not doing anything until I like slam it. You know, like I feel like a lot of Doomfist. Until I'm slamming and punching and doing stuff, I feel like I'm not doing anything. Should I be doing something here?
Well, okay, this is just a flawed question though, because what's the real problem with the battlefield right now? Do you see it? You probably don't even see it.
Everybody's kind of on point.
No, I mean that's not the problem with the battlefield. That's not the problem with the battlefield. You know what the problem with the battlefield is? This is the problem with the battlefield.
Nobody. Oh.
That's the problem with the battlefield. So of course this is going to feel weird because you're a support. You're coming back from spawn. Maybe could have gone faster, but by the time you get here, your soldier's dead. Let me ask you a question. Who would have finished off this Mercy? Who should have finished off this Mercy?
Probably the soldier.
The soldier. The soldier. Yeah. I mean, Doomfist can feel really helpless sometimes because you can't by yourself finish solo kills very often. But remember, that's not the goal all the time. The goal is just to put out pressure. This puts out a lot of pressure. It's just a shame that you're soldier fed. That's all. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
This fight goes entirely differently. Reaper chases you, Ana chases you. You force the Mercy out of a bad position. That's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Sleep. You can't do this. You can't do this. Here's what you can do, though. Slam here, then what?
Punch out.
Punch back to your team, or?
Yep.
Or
punch like maybe to the corner back behind the Ana. Back over here. Take this position.
Yeah. Play around her sleep dart now. And now that Ana's got a prickle in the back of her neck because she's thinking, okay, I need to sleep this guy now. But if she sleeps you now, like let's say she just sleeps you here, what's the problem with that?
problem for her is that I could.
Could they kill you if you're slept here right now?
Oh, probably not.
No, it's not gonna happen.
No,
you're on the outside, right? You go grab a health pack, you go back in again, and now she doesn't have sleep grenade, and at the same time you force Mercy and Ana to turn around and look at you, right? Or she doesn't sleep you, or she misses it, and you're now set up because you're now closer to the Ana without having to use any cooldowns.
Sure.
So to me, this is just the problem is that you're like, well, I can't go for Ana because she's got sleep dart, but you're going for Ana anyway right now. Why?
Right.
Because guess what the Ana can see? You. In fact, it's even easier to hit the sleep dart because she's not under any pressure. Right. So you're either directly threatening the Ana and playing around the Ana, or you're avoiding her. There's no in between. If there's in between, you die.
Sure.
Case in point, right?
Right.
Case in point. Okay. Doomfist. What do you need to practice? Lots of things. What was good about your play?
I think my target priority is killer.
Target priority looked solid for the most part. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Not spending too much time looking at the tanks all the time. Yeah, I think so. Mechanics, not too shabby. Not a strength, not a weakness. Just was, right? Some combos were okay. I think you have an idea of like what Doomfist is supposed to do. You know? Okay, so what needs practice though? What needs practice?
Tracking the most valuable cooldown.
The most valuable threatening, right?
Right. Enemy
cooldown. Yeah. And playing around it. Just the one.
Right.
What else?
Cooldowns for movement before engages. Just
making sure you have CDs before engagement. Using CD to move is fine as long as you only need one to do the job.
Right.
What else?
Applying pressure. I was gonna say applying pressure without knowing where my team is, but I feel like there's something more specific than that. That seems really broad.
Check team's position before engage, diving, pressuring.
Yep.
That specific time so that you know whether what you're doing makes any sense or not.
Right. Check literally right before I punch.
And then don't worry about it because in the middle of Doomfist is way too mechanically complicated to check mid-fight.
Right.
So do your homework and then that makes your life so much easier. Okay? What else? Micro thing.
Crosshair placement.
Crosshair placement, right? Sometimes it was really good, sometimes it was really bad. It was almost 1-to-1 for whether you get the kill or not, depending on crosshair placement.
Man, I played Cast into Diamond. I would have loved to see what my crosshair placement was at that point in time.
Yeah. Those are the main ones, I would say. I think we can go like delve more into the micro of the engagement and stuff. But I think that's like those are some low-hanging fruits that you can work at one at a time, right? Do you have any questions?
No, this was very informative.
Okay, keep in mind that was some things that were taught, some things were reminded. A lot of things were things that you already knew, but you just needed a slap in the face, right? Like this is why you lose this fight, right? And building the knowledge into habits is always the hardest part for any character, especially characters that are more mechanically demanding, because characters that are more mechanically demanding require your attention in other facets, which means that it's easy to get distracted from the fundamentals.
Right.
So you got to always revisit the fundamentals, because I promise you, if we looked at Get Quaked On, half the fights that he's losing are because he's missing some basic. Where's my team? Was we a good idea? Was that a good? Were we like literally tracking a cooldown, right? And that's the hardest part about these characters, and that's why people are always talking about like we need to deal with these CDs, because obviously tracking CDs is a very important part of every character's job in Overwatch. However, it's more punishing for tanks, which means in some aspects it's harder for tanks.
Sure, that makes sense.
So you do have to carry a little bit more of an extra burden as it is right now. But that also means that the reward is a lot higher if you can actually perform.
That makes sense.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.